Folks, hi, I'm Joe Wesley, and I'd like to introduce, it's too early in the morning to talk coherently, introduce to you my guest.
Kirby Monestime.
So thank you for being a guest on our show. For those who are seeing us for the first time, welcome. For those who are coming back again, thank you very much. A little bit of ground rules. Why are we doing this? Well, people will complain that they're the best, but no one takes them seriously of being the best because a lot of people say the exact same thing. And in a more intimate setting, people will also complain that I'm not being taken as a valued service provider or product provider, but a commodity, negotiable at that. So what we want to do is to live up to my claim that I don't see dead people, but I will help you discover things about yourself that gives you a uniquely distinctive advantage. I know that's redundant over your competition. And I call that your secret sauce. People can lay claim to what you do, but they can't lay claim to who you are. So what I do with people, my guest, is rather than ask you to, in this instance, Kirby, tell me about yourself, Kirby. Well, people will fall back to, well, I've got 8 kids, I have 3 businesses, I have $1 trillion net worth. Well, people do that all the time. But I ask people, what's your favorite pastime? And we do that for the first 20 minutes of our 30-minute session. And then in the last 10 minutes, I will share with you, with Kirby particularly, share with him what is it about him that I've picked up, one ingredient, it won't be the whole secret sauce concept, that gives his business a distinct value for you, the listeners. So when you decide you need his services or didn't realize you needed his services, hey, you're going to say, Kirby is my go-to guy. So that's where we are on this. Enough of my rambling, so I'm going to ask you, Kirby, tell me, what's your favorite pastime?
Thank you, Joe, for asking. So my favorite pastime is spending time in the gym. I go to the gym about 4 to 5 times a week. And it's not necessarily the exercise itself that thrills me. It's just the quiet time for reflection, meditation, affirmations, etc.
Excuse me, I'm going to interrupt that. First, with a question, 2 questions. When did you
Sure.
start? When did you start going to the gym as a routine?
I would say I'm 47 now. I would say when I was 18, I routinely started going to the gym.
Interesting. That's a good period of time.
Yeah.
But I still have to ask the question, how did you get there? Well, I got a green mouth. Sorry for that, folks. How did you? We do this live, by the way. So any human factors that kick in, you're going to hear them and see them as it's happening live. So before that period, were you zapped by lightning? Did you throw a dart in the wall? What is it that encouraged you to get on that path, or do you on that path to get to the gym session?
Sure, great question. Um, as a young child, I was always heavy. And not only did I not feel comfortable in my own skin, but I just, saw how many health challenges there were in my family. And I
Hmm.
just made the conscious decision to change that trajectory for myself. So that was kind of the inspiration or the impetus of me starting to work out. And it just carried along with me because like I said, over time it transformed from a body transformation to a mental and a spiritual transformation. And so that was the inspiration for me getting into the gym.
Okay. What is it? Now, I'm not a connoisseur in gym stuff, so I'm sure that's a question that won't make any sense, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Sure, go for it.
Was there a particular part of the gym exercise or routine that you liked?
Um, I wouldn't say there was anything in particular that I liked. I have a structured format that I've been using for several years, which includes cardio and then two body parts. However, over the last couple of years, I started to split my cardio. So I'll do 15 minutes of cardio, I'll do a workout, and then I'll close out with cardio just to get the heart racing again.
Okay.
But over time, I've just kind of learned and transformed and changed things up. And as many of you may already know, as you get older, it's harder to maintain that physique and that level of strength. So the gym helps me to really get motivated and be able to jump into my day and feel healthy.
I hear that, to feel healthy. And by the way, folks, I look down every now and then because I take notes. I have an awful recall. So as Kirby showing aspects of who he is, I will make note of that and I'll come back and reflect on that. Now, there are people I know who have an attitude about gym, no pain, no gain. You
Mhm.
made a comment about being spiritual. Is it for you more of a philosophical journey, or where are you on this?
Yeah, so for me, not to be too long-winded, but I grew up in a very spiritual home, or
Hmm.
religious home, I should say.
Right.
And then over time, I was able to grasp onto more of spirituality. So knowing the power that lives within me, knowing the power that I have to manifest the things that I want to manifest. I still believe in a higher power. And so the gym for me happens because I get, super busy throughout the day. The gym for me is that starting point. It is the kickoff. It is I get here and my mind automatically knows there's affirmations you need to read, there's journaling that you need to do. So there's a lot of mind body correlation that happens for me automatically when I walk into the gym. And
Okay.
then that helps me to be a better person throughout anything I'm doing, whether it's career wise, relationship wise, connecting with people, etc.
I understand. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, to summarize, it's not your desire or intent to be over 50 Mr. Olympus winner, but more of a philosophy of lifestyle. Is that what I'm hearing?
Joe, those days are over for me. There was a point in time where muscles and all of that stuff was important, and as each day goes by, I'm like, that is less and less important, and it's more about the mental journey and the spiritual and emotional journey.
I understand.
But no, I,
Now,
I mean, listen, a couple of extra muscles here and there has never hurt anybody. So I'm okay when I see when I see a little improvement in terms of the overall physique and what that looks like. But it is
I,
not my main goal and my main intention.
I hear that. So, and I guess to ask it in a different manner or to express it as a summary as I see it, it's not so much a mental mission as it is a physical mission. Like you want to, yes, you note the tone. Nice to have some body mass and some
Yeah.
leanness, healthy for the body in terms of cardiovascular. I get the concept, and you alluded to those points in talking. But from
Hmm.
you, I get more of the emotional, spiritual side of it as your focus. You have to balance the scale, yes, more than the other
Yeah,
side of it.
that's absolutely correct. Along with the fact that I enjoy eating,
Oh,
I
okay.
love
You
food.
kind of snuck that one in there.
Yeah. Well, I have to be completely honest here. I do. I love food. And my body composition is one that if I don't watch it, I can gain weight very quickly and easily. So I
Okay,
find that the gym is good balance for me as well. It allows me to eat some, and I'll qualify with some of the junk that I enjoy eating um, within moderation. But then it also allows me to manage my, how I look, how I feel, etc.
I understand. So normally what I do, folks, is I say that 20 minutes for who you are or a favorite pastime, that's who you are. And then the other 10 minutes about your business. So what we've done so far is we've talked about Kirby and the fact that he has taken his hot seat challenge, and I thank you for that in terms of the dialogue. Oh, by the way, here's a slight commercial break. I have to do this now, folks.
Sure.
Please, for those who are listening and or watching, that first off, there's no charge for this. Actually, people sometimes will ask me, "What's this going to cost me?" And I say 30 minutes of your life. And that's it, number one. And the reason I'm doing it is not because I'm necessarily a nice guy, but I say that my tagline is, again, I don't claim that I see dead people, but I'll see things about you you've perhaps not noticed. And it's one thing to just say what I do, it's another thing to actually show what I do. So the value of this is not so much that Kirby's on the hot seat, it's really I am who's there. So what I mean here, there's no pre-qualification other than willing to commit to 30 minutes of your life to get more about who you are that makes you, allows to expresses your difference, unique value from your audience around you in your industry. Now, some will use the term differentiator, not quite as potent, but in that flavor. So for those of you who have interest, please comments, leave them in the social media. There's information to connect with Kirby. There's information to connect with me to learn more about what I do. And we're going to get into Kirby's business in just a few moments. And sorry about the blueness and greenness there, folks. Again, this is a live program. This is a first for me. That being said, even if you have interest to learn more about who you are, at least share your like, your dislike, share with your friends. We do as best we can respond back, ask, and as you ask your question, give you answers also. So that's the commercial break, but we're going to flow into the business side of this. So what is it that you do for business?
Oh, Joe, that's a loaded question. So I have a full-time job where I'm the director of marketing for a dental practice. But I also started my own marketing company 2 years ago called Content Redefined. And I essentially help uh, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners connect with their ideal target audience. I like to use the word connection because essentially, 95% of people buy from a place of emotion. So it's not really about just advertising your products and services, but it's about what are the connection tactics that you can use to really connect with your audience. I also, about a year or so ago, I got life insurance licensed. So I am a licensed life insurance agent, and I help families minimize their debt, preserve wealth, create wealth strategies for themselves and for their families. And then I also help them shop for proper protection through life insurance.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. What I'm going to do, if it's okay with you or not, I'm going to focus on one aspect of what you do because I think it
Sure.
fits our storyline here. That you say you have a marketing company
Mhm.
that connects with. Actually, you mentioned three things. You work for a company where you provide what type of service again for the dental
So
company?
yeah, so I'm the director of marketing for a dental practice. So
Okay,
I
so I'm gonna stop you at that point.
sure.
That you also have a marketing company for your alternate audience, which is similar to what you do already for the uh, dental company that you work with. And then the
Mhm.
third item is being a insurance agent. And again, the common theme, this is why I'm bringing it up, is to be of help, to be of service to your audience.
Mhm.
So how that flows back to you, you made comments to yourself. First of all, I'm going to walk backwards on this as opposed to get
Sure.
to the beginning and walk forward. You say that you love to eat, and I can identify that, folks, very readily. That's an easy one for me to conceptually understand. But you didn't pay the price for it. You realize there's a price in enjoyment of eating that may not be to your best value in health. So rather than complain about it, which many people I know will do, you say for yourself, this is what I'm going to do about it. So there is a physical component to it, his exercise routine. The fact he's been doing it since 18, he said you're 47. I
I am. Yes.
40, okay. See, folks, I do listen every now and then. That's a pretty long time to stay committed to most things in life. And the consistency, I'm assuming, how often do you exercise per week? I'm asking.
I would say 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay, and that's busy, and actually, that's appropriate because the system, people say you need to give your body some rest in between, so that works also. So it's a commitment to himself, and I'm going to assume that any agent in any industry will say, well, I care about my clients. Whether they do or not, we'll never know. But it's a good marketing technique to make. Many agents will talk about how good what they've done and how long they've done it for. Well, what's important to me as a consumer is who you are, the person.
Mhm.
And are you motivated to get a part of my money? Or are you motivated to really help me to justify getting a part of my money?
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing here in dialogue, first off about Kirby the person, that he had challenges early in his life, that his reaction, people go negative with it, you can go positive with it. And Kirby chose a direction. Oh, I didn't ask this. Exercise. How did you stumble into it? Was it back of a comic book page that you saw the technique was some hunk guy on TV that got you going? What was the technique on that?
It was actually just people that I was hanging around
Mhm.
that were doing it, and I had a group of friends, and we would go to the gym together. And they invited me one time, and I was like, "Sure, let's try it out." And then from there on, the rest is history.
It was magic for you. I hear that.
Yeah.
So here's a person that recognized early on in life that there were challenges that could be a problem. I know some adults that still haven't figured out their challenges, perhaps, and how to best respond to them for their particular need and direction.
Hmm.
So it was a personal commitment. When the hormones were rushing, yes, maybe it was a nuts, Mr. Universe and Mr. Olympus syndrome, but it became more refined over time as you discovered more of the value to you on the emotional and spiritual level. And you're doing something about it. You make a commitment to it.
Yep.
And uh, the business that you're in, the triad that I've heard so far, is a similar sense of value to the consumer in any industry. That could be a stated value. But here's a guy who walks the talk. He doesn't just say it because it's part of his training program that these are the appropriate things to say, that he lives the life that he represents. And he takes himself seriously enough. Again, 30 years of effort. I keep coming back to that, that he is important enough to him to maintain the schedule in a consistent manner.
Yep.
So what I'm seeing in you, that based on the business that you're representing, that, oh, I didn't ask another technical question. Again, this is spontaneous. So as I'm making my observations, thoughts come back to me. The company you work with, how long have you been with them approximately?
The company I work for, I've been with them for 7 years.
Okay, fair enough. So here's a guy that shows consistency, that through consistency, he shows expertise. And when I say expertise, I don't think it really begins when you learn the new skill. I think his expertise is having a core essence of who he is, and the add-ons reflect his essential skill, that he believes in commitment to what he represents. Clearly, the fact that he's been doing it for a length of time indicates the value that he's gained from it, along with the commitment he's made of it. Am I so far off on that, what I'm saying?
No, I mean, you are hitting the nail spot on. You're doing a
Okay.
great job. Yeah.
Well, thank you for this. So the concept here, folks, is if you're looking for somebody, how does one make a choice? We have so many choices now, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Uh, and they say in the industry, if people get to know you, they get to like you, they get to trust you, they're more inclined to buy from you. And that's, they say, 75, 80% of the time. Admittedly, in 30 minutes, we're not going to learn a whole lot about Kirby, but what I have learned about him is an important part for me in how I make choices, because I want to feel that I'm getting the best possible dollar value to meet the needs I have of the moment. So for those of you who are trying to decide whether you need marketing efforts for your business, whether you need insurance considerations for your life, that here's a guy that has the passion, the commitment, the dedication, and the skill that can solve all those needs. If you're looking for if you like the word differentiator, for me, I like to believe it's secret sauce, because nobody will share the unique story that Kirby is sharing in
Mm.
terms of who he is, the person. And I like that. I like what you shared with me. And it's funny when I provide these programs. And again, folks, for those who have interest, for those who have questions, please share comment. For those who don't like anything we have to say, even more meaningful, share that comment, because I like to get better at what I do, not for my own benefit, but ultimately for the benefit of the people I work with. So I'm going to refer to my notes a little bit. When you say spiritual focus, how does that work in terms of your exercise? I'm not clear on that.
Sure. As part of exercise, you need to be dedicated. You need to understand what your goals are and how to achieve them. You need to be focused. And I think when you tie that into spirituality, it's about it's about centering yourself. Can you guys still hear me? Great.
I still hear you. Yes, good.
Yep, it's about centering yourself. It's about finding your inner core, and it's about the connection to your body.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the connection there.
When you approach your clients and you approach your marketing, either way, to provide service for your client base, do you use your same approach? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but not to pre-answer. The same approach that you do with your prospects, your clients, that you do with your exercising? Is there a mindset? Is there a core approach? I don't even know how to ask the question well, because if you can
Yeah.
help me out on this.
Sure, sure. When I meet clients that want to work with me, one of the things that I want to do is get to know them, understand what their goals are, understand what their long-term strategy is, understand what their business is, and understand who their audience is. Um, so it's this idea of going deeper. It's this
Hmm.
idea of focusing, connecting, um, because you can tell me about your product and that's great. Um,
Hmm.
but if you're going to use my services to market you, then I'm going to keep challenging you to dig a little bit deeper, so that you form a connection with your clients in a way that makes them want to work with you and connect with you on a deeper level.
Okay.
It's
No,
all about
I'm going to interrupt. When I hear challenge, what comes to my mind is the image that you have somebody doing the dumbbells, the sit-ups, and they're saying, after the second one, enough, I can't go any further. You're not, no, 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 you're not accepting that. We can do this a better job. Is that kind of your, I'm sure you do it suspect in a nicer manner than screaming their eardrum. But
yes,
what I'm hearing is it's not enough to say, okay, you're giving me your money, here's my platform, and we'll run with it. You dig deeper than to
I
make
do.
things happen.
I do. I like to dig deeper. I like to understand what have you tried before in terms of marketing? What were the results on that? Let's look at your analytics. What do you have available? What does your website look like? What are the analytics on your website?
Hmm.
That depth is really going to allow us to get closer to the problem that your audience is having so that we can create a strategy that solves for that problem.
Okay, so it sounds like besides marketing, you're almost like a coach. That's kind of, I think of exercise, I think of sports, I think of let's dig deeper, let's do better what we have going here. So is would you consider that part of your role model?
I love that you say that because I used to title myself as a marketing coach,
Oh
um,
my,
and I
okay. Excuse me,
and
I can interrupt. See, folks, I am good at this stuff. I'm sorry.
you're very
Go
good
ahead.
at this. You're spot on. I
Go
used to
ahead.
identify myself as a marketing coach, and then some of that message because I actually execute and I help clients build strategy. It started to get a little murky for some people, so I removed that. But at my essence and my core, what I love to do is educate, connect, and coach people on what's really going to drive the biggest bang for their buck and what's really going to be influential with their client base.
Okay. So what I'm getting from that is that I get the impression that I don't know how marketing, I'm sure there's different schools of philosophy of marketing technique.
Absolutely.
Having said that, it sounds like you're very interactive. That I'm assuming you'll come back to your guest, maybe share what you have, look for feedback, maybe challenge why you like it, don't like it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that kind of the method you use?
Yeah, I have a very co-collaborative approach when I take on new clients.
Hmm.
Because while I have the background in marketing and I have a great understanding of how marketing strategy works, I hope that my clients really have done some of the pre-work to really understand their target audience, know who their ideal client is, and so when we connect those pieces together, we create a robust, effective marketing strategy. So I think the co-collaboration piece between the client and myself is one of the things that I pride myself in, as you mentioned before, as a differentiator. You don't need to just drop me off your money and then be disconnected. I mean, some clients want to do that, and I'm okay with that sometimes. But to some extent, there's got to be a level of co-collaboration between us to make sure that it's effective.
Fair enough. And what I'm hearing here, I can make another distinction. Yes, I use the word differentiator, and again, it's a generic phrase. Anybody could use that. What makes you different? What allows you to stand out? There is a recognition that if people have multiple choices, particularly in today's world of social media contact, that people are overwhelmed. If they
Hmm.
have a lot of choices that seem to be similar. What the secret sauce concept means, once again, is that we can use the terms of what's your differentiator, but how do you get to a uniqueness of what your company is providing. And I
Mhm.
would say this, a clear commitment. If members of my audience, when I say audience, the hot seat challenge members, it's a challenge to define your ideal market to
Sure.
you if you don't know who you are as that
Yeah.
ideal agent for that ideal market. And that's why I'm doing this challenge format. It takes away some of the, everybody wants the ideal agent. I'm sorry, the ideal client. But you might have 30 people at one time going after that one person. But that prospect will have their own sense of what they may not be aware of what they're looking for.
Mhm.
But when it flashes across their path, I think it's an intuitive response that they say, hey, this guy Kirby, I like his philosophy. I've done sports myself or not, or athleticism or not, or exercising or not, but I like the commitment. I like the spiritual nature of it. And I like how he actually gets involved in what he's doing to best allow me to provide an environment so my clients will want to come to me also. Again, I don't mean to talk on your behalf, but again, how far off am I? Am I on track? Would you like to fill in the blanks, put more meat on the bone on that?
No, I think I mean, a large part of my journey has been really understanding who I am and what I want to manifest and what I want to be in this world.
Hmm.
I can't help other people create strategies for their business that are going to be all expansive and that are going to change the world if I am not clear for myself on what my purpose is and what my why is. So yes, you're spot on. It's my intention is to really get a better sense of me so I can connect with you and help you identify that better sense of you. And once you put that into your overall marketing strategy, you're automatically going to attract more people by the essence of who you are.
Good point. And I like to, of course, good point, because I happen to agree with it, of course. You made a point a few moments ago that what I'm learning is the people who take the hot seat challenge are people who emulate what Kirby has just said. That how can he provide good value to his customer base if he doesn't have a clear sense of his own value? And it's more than simply the mechanics of what he does, it's the essence of who he is.
Mhm.
And again, that can't be duplicated. And so the nuances he brings to the table, please look at his uh, contact information uh, underneath the imaging. If you would like to review this again, it will be clickable for a few days after. To view it at your leisure, please feel free to share it. We really do encourage comments, questions, likes or not, thumbs up, thumbs down, because the way I get better at what I do is feedback.
Mhm.
And the better I understand who I am, because I'm still on my quest for my secret sauce, I have a sense of it decently well enough to stick my neck out for these sessions. I'll say it like that. But the better I become at it, the more value I can provide my service. And certainly for Kirby, for what he does, his links are also available. This is actually one of my, what do I say? I don't say easier ones. You're a good guest. And it's never easy because I don't know the answers. Again, we don't rehearse this. There's no script. There's nothing along that line. But I want to thank you for being an interactive guest. Perhaps I'll say it like that. Any final words you'd like to say to the audience before we sign off?
No, Joe, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's always powerful to be able to share who you are with other people, and know that you contribute to the lives of others. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for inviting me to be a guest here today.
I appreciate that. Folks, thanks for being our guest. And questions, comments, if you'd like to sign up yourself for Secret Sauce, please click the link in the information below the thumbnail. I call it the book cover. I would ask, if it's to me, put hot seat in the title. I get a fair amount of emails, and this will allow me to give you a more expedited response back. And in terms of Colby's Connect information, do you have any preference in the title? Anybody that reaches out works for you quite well.
No, I mean, if you can just mention that you watched the Hot Seat Challenge, that would be awesome. That gives me a sense of where we may have connected. But outside of that, just connect away. I'm excited to
Great.
meet new people always.
I like that. You said something I hadn't thought about. You mentioned hot seat challenge. There's no commission I get paid on this for that. So it's still nice to have the recommendation, the testimonial. I thank you for that. Folks,
Sure.
thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure, Kirby, working with you. We're going to now end the broadcast.